The purpose of this video is to provide an overview of designing a report in FRX. Using your accounting knowledge in FRX, you want to produce accurate and professional financial statements. Now remember that FRX is only a tool used to build reports. It's not a program that collects and stores data and information. Rather, it retrieves that data from the Dynamics GP database. When you think of FRX, or if you think of any tool that you're using to create or build a report, if you think of it in stepping stones or building blocks, it will facilitate the process. And in FRX, it's no different. The building blocks in FRX begin with the row formats. You have to define your rows. Now, the rows are going to provide a description. May also be an amount from the general ledger or a calculated amount. Could be a blank line, could be an underline. But it does link you, the rows do link you to the accounts and the amounts in your general ledger. Now, Excel is similar to FRX, but Excel and FRX don't have the same features and functions. There's some similarities, but there's also some differences. The other building block in FRX are the column layouts, and this includes the measurement of time. Are we working on an income statement? Do we want month and year-to-date columns? Do we want a current year-to-date column and a previous year-to-date column? Likewise, for the balance sheet, which is at a point in time, is it just for the current year, or do we want current year and a previous year? Now, it's these rows and columns then that facilitate the process of constructing a report. You have to have a row format, you have to have a column layout before you can do a report. Now, the last item is the reporting tree, and reporting trees are optional. You would use them if you had segments and departments and maybe profit centers and wanted to dissect your income statement. Now, this video is going to illustrate the first steps in creating an income statement for jewelry importers, while also showing some of the functionalities of FRX. Now, it doesn't show all. This is a very complex program, but hopefully it will show enough to help reinforce the class material and to help you get started with producing financial statements in FRX. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to build the row format. We're going to define the row format, and we're going to define it two different ways. The first way that we're going to define it is line by line. So I'm going to open the row format window, and I'm going to create a new one. And this particular one I'm going to name just 01 with my initials, BKK, for the income statement. And this will be row by row for illustrative purposes. So if I'm doing an income statement, I know I'm going to want sales, and I think I will also have some sales returns and adjustments. Then I will insert a line, and I will use this just as an underline, and then I will have net sales. Several ways I can add, or I can link to the general ledger. I can use the drop down, and I know I want to start with account 6000 for the jewelry importers, and I want to go to account 6098. For sales returns and allowances, I can use a drop down, or I can type in the account. Now, it's important to put in what the nominal balance is. If it's a credit, you do want to, the normal balance is a credit, you want to designate it as such. Otherwise, it will bring it from the trial balance with brackets, and you do not want that from the general ledger. So if we put it in that the normal balance is a credit, then when it appears in the report, it will not have the brackets around it. My net sales, I want that to be a total of other rows. And I'm going to take row 100 less the sales returns on row 130 and save. So that's one way that you can create the row format. The other way that you can do it, or another option, is to bring in your entire chart of accounts. So I'm going to bring in all of the rows from my chart of accounts. As you can tell, this starts with petty cash. Since I am doing the income statement, I don't care about that. And I'm going to delete everything up to the sales account, which is account 6000. Then I have my sales. Next, I want to define the sales like I did in the line by line and go to 6098 for the account number. Thus, I do not need all of these sales because I'm going to put them all in on one line. I have my sales returns, which I had previously, and I'm going to insert a row for the underline and a row for net sales. My net sales will be a total line again. Now this time it's 1900 minus the 2260. Now the row numbers are getting quite high, so if I wanted to, I could just renumber the rows, and maybe I just want to start with 100 and not have all of these lines. And notice that it automatically updated then my total line. I did say I wanted to put a underline here, and notice this window also lets you to do double underlines, etc. Now this one I will save as O2 BKK income statement, and this will be for our purposes from chart of accounts, just for illustrative purposes. The next thing we want to do is our column layout. And for our column layout, I want one column designated as the month, so it pulls the numbers for the month. And for the second column, I want year to date. Now in my report, in the very first column, I want a description. And this has to be, you have to have a description in your column layout. And the only other thing I'm going to change, and as you can see, there's many things to choose from, but I am just going to limit the width to 40. For the month column, I want the numbers to come from the general ledger, and it's for the current period. For the year to date, I also want the numbers to come from the general ledger, but this time it will be year to date. And I will save my column just with O1 BKK for the income statement, and we'll just put income statement as the description. Now the next step would be to create a report. And my report, I will just label OOBKK income statement, IS, and reference it as income statement. We'll first show what it looks like row by row. with the column for the income statement. I want this for the previous period, the last closed period, which is going to be the December 31st. So we look at this report, we can see it brought over the sales, less the sales returns, and gave us net sales, exactly what we set up. That same report, our income statement, can be defined with the rows from the chart of accounts. As we would expect, we're going to see a lot more information here because we have not edited it for all of the chart of accounts, but we do have the sales minus the sales adjustment returns with the net sales. Now, if I wanted to drill down and look closer, you can see that I wasn't allowed to do that. No records to drill into for this row. If you want to drill down, you have to define that in the report. So that drill down right here at this drop down financial report, if we have financial end transaction, which I will save. Now when you get your report, you will be able to drill down and look at the underlying balance. So here's the list of everything that makes up sales, and should I so desire, I can drill down one step further and go back into Dynamics and review the actual transaction entries. Now, one last thing that you can also build a report using the wizard, which is this icon right here, Launch Wizard Report. And basically what the wizard does is you fill in, you respond to the questions within the wizard, and then the wizard builds the report and also has built that report based on what it's built for columns and rows. So for instance, if we want to do an income statement for current and year to date, you're going to select what you want for sales, and we'll just pick a couple here to illustrate how the wizard works. So if I just picked a couple, I'm going to add those. The next thing is, what do you want for cost of revenue? And we'll just add a cost of goods sold, and then you just follow it through, and it will ask you a couple questions about choosing the report structure, and you would want it for the entire company. We're not doing segments or departments. And we'll just enable this 100 to keep it separate from our others, and just say wizard income statement. And we want it for 2003. Now it generates a report, so you can tell, we only did a little bit of it, that you would still need to modify it. So even if you're using the wizard, you're still going to need to modify the report. If you look at the rows and columns generated by the wizard report, you can see the description. You can also see where they have brought in a total, brought in an underline. And in addition, if you'll notice that the row code doesn't have to always be numbered, it can also be labeled with an abbreviation, for instance, total revenue. And down here for gross margin, then gross margin is computed, but instead of using the row numbers, it uses the name in the row column, the row code. So you have the option of using letters over here in the row code. Okay, as with any system, this is way more complex than what this video showed, and so this is just the beginning to give you a little bit of a reference point. If you need more reference material, or when you need more reference material, you've got it available. Help on the menu, F1 for related to whatever current task, and there's also the FRX Report Designer User's Guide that's on Blackboard and on the server desktop. And that is very helpful for looking up specific items. It has a table of contents. It also has an index. It's not going to be good for leisurely reading. You can see it's 364 pages long, but it is a good reference material looking for what you may need.